Thanks, Chairwoman. First, let me just say thank you to the panel for being here in your testimony today. I'll introduce myself. I'm Patrick Murphy. I'm a freshman. I was in the Army, and I was in the 82nd Airborne Division over in Iraq 5 years ago. Airborne, that's right, Sergeant Major. Ms. Donnelly, you testified that gays and lesbians cannot serve openly in the military because, and I quote, it will be detrimental to unit cohesion, end quote. In essence, you're basically asserting that straight men and women in our military aren't professional enough to serve openly with gay troops while successfully completing their military mission. You know, as a former Army officer, I could tell you I think that's an insult to me and to many of the soldiers. To answer your question, Mr. Jones, it was 24 countries that allow military personnel to serve openly without any detrimental impact on unit cohesion. Ms. Donnelly, can you please justify your position that American servicemen and women are less professional and less mission capable than service members of other foreign militaries?
I respect all our men and women in the military. By the way, Dr. Snyder, Captain Michelle Jones is a friend of mine.
Murphy.
But I think no, I had to answer the other question because it wasn't put to me directly. I respect all the people in the military, and I think your question is not quite the essence of what we're talking about here. If we say that forced cohabitation is the new rule, and we're saying that if you don't like the way you feel, then just relax and enjoy it or tolerate it. Is that fair? Now,
Ms. Donnelly, that's not actually the question. The question is that you're saying that you do not trust our military professionals to serve openly with other people that might not be heterosexual when 24 other countries do it. It has nothing about forced cohabitation.
Let me finish
In fact, we have segregated cohabitation. You can, but I don't want you to mischaracterize what my question was, Ms. Donnelly, with all due respect.
You said professional, okay? Professional does not mean automaton. It doesn't mean that people are not human. People are human. People have sexual feelings. And they're not perfect. We know that in the armed forces, with all the wonderful men and women we do have issues involving sexuality. Men and women have issues because they're not perfect.
Right, Ms. Donnelly, and that's why there's the UCMJ and Army regulations and Marine Corps regulations, because if there's misconduct, now, it's my time too. Okay. Now, if there is misconduct, then there are regulations to deal with that misconduct.
Yes.
But we're talking about orientation, not misconduct here. And that is the premise of my question to you, Ms. Donnelly, is that you're saying that our military, the greatest military in the world, one I was honored to serve with when I first put the uniform on back in 1993, is not as professional as 24 other countries because they can't understand what is right and what is wrong.
What would you say to Cynthia Yost, the woman who on a training exercise was assaulted by a group of lesbians?
I would say to her the same thing I say to every single man or woman that serves in the military. You go to your superior officer and they will get prosecuted under Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Are you telling
That's exactly what I'll tell Ms. Yost.
She could not even complain because she knew what she would be accused of.
You lost your leg in Iraq, and thank you for your service to our great country.
As well as you, sir. Thank you.
Can you please comment on my question about unit cohesion? Do you not think that a Marine can answer the call of duty if they're asked to by our nation?
Yes, sir. In fact, there was 2 fellow Marines on my convoy that day on March 21st. Losing my leg was an unimaginable tragedy that I would never have thought of. But on that convoy that day, and people who were aware of my orientation, no one stopped to prevent my life from going on. They did their job, which each and every man or woman is when we're going into Afghanistan or Iraq, and that's to take care of each other, accomplished a mission, and I was brought home because those Marines did their job. The unit cohesion was not broken. People did what they were supposed to do. They did their jobs.
General Coleman, you're a 2-star general. You also got the Purple Heart in your service in Korea. When you joined our military, it was still segregated. It was desegregated, as you mentioned in your testimony. Sir, you testified that you felt like a second-class citizen. And could you expound on that? Do you think that in your role, and again, when you take that oath to support and defend the Constitution, it's not just for your time on active duty, it's for a lifetime of service to our country. Can you comment on unit cohesion and your feelings on what it would do with our military?
Yes, sir. Well, unit cohesion is a leadership issue, and that starts from the very lowest unit, at the lowest level, and works all the way to the top. And there's a commitment by everyone, and you build teams through cohesion. And if you take one member away from that team, then you're breaking the cohesion, regardless of whether it be regardless what the sex is or what color they might be. You are building a team, and that team live and work together.